Hello and welcome to another episode of Elevate, a DBNC leadership podcast where we have conversations with non-traditional and diverse leaders. Enjoy! My name is Christian Fox, and today I am joined by a very special guest. Giselle, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank
How are you?
Thank you, Christian. I feel very honored for the invitation of joining the DBNC podcast. It's a really good opportunity to share my experience with DBNC and also with EarlyON.
I'm so glad you could be here. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do with EarlyON?
Okay. So my name is Giselle Orozco. I've been with DBNC for almost 3 years. I joined in October 2021, I believe it was. I speak Spanish and English. I am a mom of 2 beautiful boys. So I work for DBNC EarlyON. I am part of the small team here at the Dixie location in the Burhantov Library and part of the big team of DBNC EarlyON, which is 5 different locations. So in the agency, I wear different hats. I am EarlyON facilitator with families and children. I am also EarlyON administrator, so I hold different responsibilities that I can tell you more after. And I am also the co-chair of the Joint Health and Safety Committee.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, it sounds like a lot of different different jobs, different things that you're doing here.
Yes.
So for those of folks who maybe don't know what EarlyON is, what is the EarlyON program?
Okay. So EarlyON centers are welcoming centers for families in which families come and play with the children, but it's more than that. So we, in a sense, set up the space for children to play, and those experiences enhance different areas of development. Let's say fine motor, gross motor, depending on the experience. And we also connect families with different community resources, which I'll get more into detail about that. So we have different centers. We have EarlyONs, our drop-ins are free to join. We have 5 different locations. I'm just gonna list them for everyone to know. So we have Brand W. Fleming Public School. We have Cooksville Creek Public School. We have Dixie, which is this location. We have Mississauga Valley Community Center, and we have Tompkin Middle School. So those are the different locations. So when families join us, they interact with each other, they make connections with the community, and we also connect them with different organizations or resources depending on what's the need. So let's say every month we have connection with them for child development if someone has a question about nutrition, development, routines. We always we use our knowledge as early childhood educators, but as well we connect them if there's a further inquiry about development. And we have a variety of schedules. So we open Saturday. So let's say if one location is not open the Monday, the other one is open the Saturday. So we try our best to Monday to Saturday offer programs. We also offer evening programs, so for families that work during the day, they can come after work with children. And in the end, the goal is to meet the unique needs of every family. So it's a very holistic program. The play component is there, but it's beyond that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, that sounds like a lot of different things that you're doing. So why don't you tell us a little bit about why it's more than just a drop-in program?
Yes, so EarlyON in general, EarlyON programs are a community-based initiative where we support families with children ages 0 to 6 in their learning developmental journey. So the difference specifically is that we emphasize a lot in community engagement. So families come with their child, and of course we're there, we provide resources and knowledge, but we support that ongoing engagement between the child and the parent to bond and make those connections, because it's proven that those connections are the lifelong, something important for their whole life. So that's one difference. And we also have them, I have here in my list. So we work in partnership, as I was mentioning, with EcoSource, Every Mind, the Indigenous Network, even community centers. So I'm not sure in general other, let's say, drop-in programs or childcare centers. There might be some partnerships, but we have a variety of partnerships. So let's say for EcoSource, we in the spring and summertime we garden with families. We have here at Dixie 2 garden beds, and then
Right.
families experience hand-on gardening. It might be the first time for some families. At the same time, some other families might have a lot of experience, so they talk about it, and then children start seeing how this little seed is now a big tomato or a big zucchini. So that progress. So that's from EcoSource. From Every Mind, as I was saying before, we have a partnership with them for child development chats. We have resource consultants that come on site on a rotating basis. They talk to families, they give advice, and if there is a further need, as I was mentioning, so they can book free consultations with them. And those consultations are 1 hour long, and they're very helpful for families. Then we have the Indigenous Network, which is the program is called Journey Together from this Indigenous Network. So they come, and during group time they will sing some songs from Indigenous community. They bring some materials. Let's say they bring sage and they put fire on it, and then they explain why is that important and in the Indigenous culture. And then, last but not least, between many, we have also community centers. We partner with them often. For example, last year, the community center in also with partnership with Participation, we offer swimming sessions for families and children, and it was very rewarding experience because families got the opportunity to visit all these sessions, and children just learned how to swim after joining those sessions. So families were very grateful, like, now my child knows how to swim thanks to EarlyON. So that makes a difference compared to other drop-in programs.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's a lot of different services. So if parents or someone's trying to access our services, what's the best way for them to do that?
To access the services, so we have different ways. We are always trying to promote our services. What we find out works the best is word of mouth, but we wish there was like more awareness about these programs, because in reality it helps not necessarily children, but also parents, caregivers, grandparents that come to the program. So if they want to attend, of course, social media, it's a big platform for us to share what we do, and we document what's happening the day of, and we have WhatsApp groups in which we share what's going on for the day. But let's say if it's a new family and they're not sure where to go, they can always check infopeel.ca, which is the Peel website, and they can check all the EarlyONs in the Peel region, the schedules, the time, contact information, or they can also check DBNC website. As I was saying, we have 5 different locations, so they can check our website. And I was gonna add to what I was saying that part that relates to a previous question, but I was gonna add that here at DBNC and EarlyON specifically, because we want to be always aligned with the agency DEI statement. So when families and children come to a program, we always have in mind that we uphold those principles of diversity, equity, and inclusion. So when families and children come, they feel that we respect their perspectives, their experiences, and their culture. So that also makes a difference.
Okay, yeah, that's excellent. I think that's so critical to be able to note that today, because, sadly, it's still a huge problem, and and people are still trying to grasp it. And I think it's very important that we're like, yes, we are DEI focused, and it's essential for kids and for the parents and for the families that come through our doors.
Now I see more organizations joining the DEI journey.
Yeah, definitely.
But I see DBNC is making a big change around DEI, and I can also show through EarlyON here at the agency.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And speaking of new things, I want to ask what kind of new things are you guys adding to the program this year?
Good question. So we always have new things going on. Let's say right now it's spring, summertime. So we have the gardening experience not only at this location. We also have Mississauga Valley location, Brown Fleming location doing gardening. But I just want to talk like in general. So we have a fairly new addition I have here in my notes. We have programs around the queer community. So we have queer family time on Tuesdays at this location from 9:30 to 12:30. So that's a fairly new program where everyone is welcome. So
Okay.
if you're from the community, if you're not from the community, everyone is welcome to attend. We also have programs around mental health. So we have a program called Family Talk Time, where in this program facilitators talk to families around mental health, because just to give you an analogy, let's say when you're in an airplane and there's an emergency, you know how you should put the mask first on
Right.
yourself before helping
Yeah,
the
exactly.
child. So mental health is a big component. You have to be healthy mentally and physically to be able to support your child. So those are the family talk times. We also have father-focused programs. We have playtime with dad here at this location, and we also have Super Dad, Super Kids, which is is like a certification for dads in which dads graduate from learning every week about different topics, how to empower dads in taking care of my child. So the reality is that there's that stereotype that only moms know how to take care of
right.
the child,
Yeah.
how to change a diaper, but dads are completely capable. So that's our job, to empower them.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
So what was the genesis behind that? Was it just that belief, that stereotype that prompted the creation of that program?
Yes, and also because when during programs you can hear dads trying to connect with each other. Hey, I'm experiencing this. Does that happen to you? And then you can see how they relate to each other's concerns, or kind of just to make sure, are you going through the same experience as I am going through? So we wanted to have that space for them, and it's a safe space that they can just feel comfortable sharing with other dads what they're experiencing.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's excellent. Yeah, I think that's interesting. The idea that dads are having conversations with each other and they're trying to compare notes to figure,
Yeah.
okay, what can we do?
Yes.
Because society is very much okay. Women are the caregivers and dads are, I don't want to say second tier, but there's always
Yes.
that perception of it.
Yes.
So that's fantastic. Now I did have one question because you're mentioning mental health. Is that also for the children as well, or is it primarily for the parents?
So Every Mind also works around children's mental health. There's also a program from the region called PIP, in which we refer families to Every Mind, and then they arrange the PIP program. So this program is more around moms or caregivers or parents who are experiencing some disconnection with the child. So there's mental health sometimes involved, where there's no bonding between the both of them. So that PIP program, we don't facilitate that program, but we refer families to that program to support caregivers to be mentally healthy and be able to be there to support children.
Okay. Yeah, that's
Yes.
good. That's good to know. But I think that's such a huge thing because often we're so, focused on our kids. Like it's the
Yes.
perfect analogy of being in the airplane and being
Yes.
told you gotta focus on yourself first.
Yes.
Then take care of your kid.
Yes.
Specifically,
Specifically, postpartum depression is a
Yeah.
big one. So we do our best to support families. Every family brings their unique needs and their preferences, and that's what makes EarlyON a big difference, because we have a broad of resources offer for them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's very good. Like it sounds like a huge, just an ever expanding program,
Yes.
and a lot of these new additions I think are so critical
Yes.
to us, especially in 2024. Mm-hmm. Now shifting gears a little bit, what are some of your favorite things about the program?
Okay, different things. I enjoy from the every moment setting up for children, setting up the space for families, Prepare resources for the specific week or for the specific program. Let's say we have a program called Math is Everywhere. So we set up experiences around that topic. So even for young children, often a question is, how is my 3-year-old going to learn math? So we offer different sorting, classifying patterns for children. So it's good since the beginning when we come the morning to set up, then we welcome families. And then in the end, what's my favorite thing is at the end when children are very grateful for a specific experience that you put so much effort into. And then they just say, oh, thank you, I had so much fun. Now I know that this is blue and this is yellow. Oh, I go home and like my heart is full at the end of the day when you get those comments from children. Or even a month later, they come back and they say, hey, I remember you said blue and yellow makes green. And sometimes we might forget these little things, but it's all about those little things that made a difference in that child's life, that child learned that how to make green. So that's good. So that's in terms of program. In terms of my other hat that I wear as administrator, I enjoy everything of those duties because it comes to organization, planning, program planning. We also take into consideration families' feedback when they say, oh, we would like to have a program around art and sensory experiences. So we, like behind the scenes, is also part of my favorite job. You plan this behind scenes, then you implement, and then you see families and children's reaction. So that's one of my favorites.
Yeah, that's a really cool thing, being able to take the feedback and find, okay, what are we missing?
Yes.
What can we change? And then plan it, implement it, and then to see it happening.
Yes. In the end, is their program, and we also work around the foundation of how does learning happen, and one of them is belonging. So families need to feel that they belong here. This is home for them. So if they want dinosaurs on the wall, okay, let's all put dinosaurs on the wall because it's not our place, it's everyone's place.
Oh, that's a really cool concept.
Yes.
The idea that it's not our place. It's like, no, this is your place. And yeah, that's huge.
Yeah.
And I think it must be great for the kids too, who feel like, this is like their home, because I often wonder, like, do kids struggle with the fact that they're being told what to do and they're not be given options necessarily. But the idea that, we could make this room, this space, our space, not just my space.
Yes, and that's another good thing about EarlyONs, because we try to make space home for them, and at the same time, we start introducing concepts like cleaning up. So when they get to school, they know, okay, there's a time that I can play and use all materials, but there's a time that I need to clean up, and then join circle time in the carpet area, sing some songs, listen to the book. What was the message of the book? Oh, these books relate to a song that's coming after that. So it's like having that transition between home and school. And often we have families who come back after some time and they say, oh, my child is now in kindergarten and my child said that like it's very prepared, and the teacher even said that my child is very comfortable cleaning up. And having been exposed to an environment to socialize, to be part of some routines, while at the same time being an open-ended program, helps children be prepared for kindergarten. And we actually have a program which is called Transition to Kindergarten, which is happening May and June at the Brown Fleming location.
Because does that happen every year then?
Yes, every year around this time. Depends on the location. Often is Brown W. Fleming location. So if someone is interested, they can check the website and register for that program.
Okay, yeah, that's excellent, because I often even thinking back to those times, it's like, there's a huge, if you're not ready for it, because I was able to go to a babysitter's house, so I felt like that prepared me for kindergarten, but still, it's a huge transition from...
Especially socializing, the social, emotional component, children need that as well, not only learning how to write, there's more than that. So routines and being able to start managing emotions and all that. So that's how EarlyON supports in that aspect.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That's a really, really cool program. Now, I'm a big tech person. I love technology, and I love seeing
too.
it change.
Yes.
How do you find technology is changing the way learning is happening?
Okay, so my belief is that technology is here to stay. There is no way to change that back. Um, Having said that, we just have to find ways to use technology in a smart way. So there's
Right.
interactive tutorials. There's different like interactive games that children play, but I believe that children, especially young children, need to be exposed to hands-on experiences before jumping into the technology world.
Right.
It's proven that children learn from children multisensory learners. So they start learning by touching, even eating things. So before just touching a screen, let's say touching Play-Doh, there's apps for Play-Doh, but it will never be the same an app or the real Play-Doh to
As the
stimulate your
physical.
fingers.
Yeah.
Yes, it won't be the same. So we have, I just wanted to talk also about in relation to that. So we support technology mainly because through technology, we as parents or as educators use technology for pedagogical documentation. So in EarlyON, we of course ask for consent and we take pictures and then we document for the purpose of social media so people know what's the benefit of me going to EarlyON, what's happening there. Oh, I see they're gardening, they're building towers with blocks, they're painting. We have space in the room where children can paint on the wall. We put paper on the wall for them to paint. So that's a good way of using technology for us as adults, but for children, maybe after introducing hands-on experiences, they can watch some interactive tutorials how the real world is in the ocean, for example. More than that, I believe we as parents, we have to be mindful just how long is my child staying on the device, what is my child watching, is this age appropriate, and manage times because it's proven that technology for longer periods of times doesn't bring good effects. Children also thrive in active running, playing outside, jumping on logs. So it's like finding that balance between it's helpful until some extent.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That there's like the good and the bad, and like, so when you're talking like a lot about children being exposed to it, how are you seeing it? Like, how do you feel it's impacting their social development?
It's you can see the difference when children get more exposed to real life experiences. You can see who's more ready to write, to talk when they get to experience their real hands-on experience. So it's a little bit tricky because I understand sometimes technology helps children to get distracted if their parent is busy doing something really important, but there's different websites, and again, on the good side of technology, there's different websites for play and learn activities for children to watch something that they can do like educational. So yeah.
Yeah, I think it's great when you're like, yeah, there's a lot of good. I think it's just knowing where to go and
Yes.
knowing like what kind of websites
Yes.
to go to, and I think you made a really good point. You got to make sure you're understanding what your kids are watching and what they're being exposed to.
Yes. But before that, hands-on always.
Yeah, hands-on
And
always.
I
Yeah.
always use the analogy of, I like analogies,
Right.
of a soccer ball. So
Yeah.
I can use right now a soccer ball to throw, to kick, to learn how to catch, or I can use this soccer ball to break the windows. So
Yeah.
it's not, I don't believe personally the idea of putting things away, because I can keep the soccer ball here and use it for good thing or for bad thing. So and then it comes the parent engagement to support the child and provide support. Hey, the purpose of this object, whether a computer, an iPad, or a soccer ball, is You can use it in the right way or in the wrong way, and that makes big
Yeah, I
difference.
think that's a really good point. It's like it's not just necessarily what the thing is, but it's how you use it, and that's
Yes.
like true. You can kick a soccer ball, you can catch it, or you can use it to break the windows.
Yes.
Doesn't mean that the soccer ball is in itself a bad
Yeah.
thing. Yeah, I think that's a really smart analogy.
It's not about the object; it's how
Yeah, how
it's
it's being
managed,
used.
and for that, you need parents to be ongoing support next to a child, so
Yeah.
the child understands that importance.
Yeah, that's very true. Now, one of the questions I've been asking a lot of different people is if you could talk to a genie or wave a magic wand, remember, like, let's say a genie, okay? And this is a good genie. This is not a monkey paw wish thing. This is not a genie that's trying to trick you.
Yeah.
But if you can get one, like, if you can change anything about the program, what would it be?
Okay, so if I had that genie,
You're a
I
nice
will
genie.
tell please if that genie could make the miracle of creating more awareness about EarlyON. There's many people that still don't know what EarlyON is. They don't even know that EarlyON exists. So if I had that genie in front of me, I will ask if we could promote EarlyON in television, radio, highway signs to create more awareness. Every corner, make a big poster and create more awareness about EarlyON. The reality is that some people don't know, or some people don't understand the importance of coming to a programs because there's not enough awareness of the benefits that brings to children.
Yeah.
So that's my my wish for that genie, to be able to help us spread the world in different ways.
Yeah, I think I totally agree with that, because even talking to certain clients, like clients that love EarlyON are just like, I loved it, and like the minute I discovered it, it was the best thing ever.
Yeah.
But I heard about it from a friend, or I walked into DBNC and somebody mentioned
Or
it.
sometimes the library.
Yeah, but
that's
it's really it's not like I can see the billboard thing where it's
Yes.
like, I know if I'm dealing with like a tax issue, or if I'm dealing with debt,
Yes.
I call the trouble. I can't even think of the guy's name, but it's like, all those people.
Yes.
But it would be nice to get to that point where it's like, oh, I have I'm looking for some services early on.
EarlyON.
That's going to be the
yes.
perfect thing.
And it's often confused with childcare. Childcare is different. In childcare, the child stays, the parent leaves. EarlyON, we also work. Our audience is also parents, so we are the ones trying to support parents in different ways. And sometimes EarlyON, let's say I know about EarlyON, it's a place to play, but creating more awareness, more than playing, as I explained before, the benefits of community resources, the help I need. Maybe I need help with language, so we can refer them to link classes here in the agency or employment. So it's way more than playing.
Yeah, I think that's such a huge thing that, like, hopefully these signs and these advertisements would clarify that it's
Yes.
not just about play. It's not
Yes.
just a drop-off center or drop-in center. It's a lot more than that.
It's a lot more than that. And yes, children, to add to that, children do play, but they do play, children learn by playing. So when we put those experiences on the table or those materials, every material or every experience is linked to a specific developmental domain for children. So that's,
Yeah, that's
yes.
smart. That's good.
Yeah.
So it's not just random, but it's like everything
Yes.
has a purpose.
Yes.
And like there's a focus and there's like a goal. Like as you said, like by the end of the day, children will know, hey, if you mix blue and yellow, you get you get green. No, that's right. Yeah.
Yes.
I haven't thought about that in a long time. But yeah, that's very cool that you get those kinds of like those objectives and
Yes.
everything has a purpose.
Everything has a purpose behind that. It superficially looks just plain. It looks just a space for parents to come and just be there, but there's more than that. We also promote parents to connect with each other. Sometimes they're going through the same situation. Let's say, oh, my baby's teething. How can I help my child? So often we help, but often experts are other parents that are going through the same situation. So then they bond, and then they make a relationship. Then they continue coming here for 1, 2, 3 years. Then eventually both of them go to school. They end up in the same school. So we have parents here that know each other since babies, Mother Goose program.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, the networking and the connections with other
Yes.
parents,
Yeah.
I think is essential. And I always hear, because I'm not a parent, hope to be a parent soon, but like I always hear when parents talk about parenting, it's like, yeah, talking to other parents who have gone through
Yes.
the same thing is
Yes.
like is essential to helping
Yeah.
them figure out how to do something.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. So now I want to talk about the not-for-profit industry as a whole. Like, what do you think some of the misconceptions are about working at a not-for-profit agency like DBNC?
Sometimes there's a misconception that DBNC or EarlyON are only for low-income families. We support in the agency, or of course we support newcomers as well, but we welcome everyone, regardless of language, socioeconomical status. Again, talking about DEI, a statement from the agency. So we in EarlyON specifically, we are perceived as sometimes it's taken as okay, these people is here to put materials and clean for us, but that's another misconception. We are very, very passionate educators who are always eager to share all the child development knowledge we have, all these ideas or these sparkling experiences that even families can do at home to stimulate children. So it's often perceived because it's a free program that is just it's just like for low income. There's no actual quality in this
Right.
because it's just
Yeah, it's a free service, so
it's a
probably
free
not very
service.
good,
So
yeah.
why is this meaningful? Is this valuable information for me to learn? And not necessarily talking about me, like my whole team, we have 5 locations, we are around 25 people. You can see everyone is ready every morning to spread love, to spread kindness, to be that passionate person for families and children, even if it's just to listen to a mom's concern. Maybe that's what that family needs. Just to talk, just to be there.
Yeah, just to be heard. Like I
Yes.
notice that from a lot of my clients too. Sometimes they just want to be heard
Yes.
and want to feel like, hey, I can tell you about my issue and here's what I'm dealing with.
Yes.
But I think that's so right that people assume that it's a free service. It's
Yes.
probably for lower income or it's
Yeah.
not a good quality. But I think people are always surprised when they
And then
actually
they come
see it in
and they
action
see.
and they're like, wow.
And then they express that. They will tell us, oh, we're so grateful. You guys do this, 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 this. And this is free.
Yeah,
So,
and it's free.
yes.
Exactly.
Yes. So that's one of the biggest
Yeah.
misconceptions about nonprofit, specifically EarlyON or the agency.
Yeah, that's true. Now, one final question. I love asking this to people.
Yeah.
If you could go back in time and talk to your 16-year-old self, what advice would you give her?
Okay. If I were to go back in time, which I think it's a good thing for the genie to be able to go back
and
in
remember,
time.
this is not going to like mess up
Yes.
your future, though.
Yes.
In case anyone's worried about.
I will say, don't be afraid. Just go out, explore, follow your dreams. Here in the agency, I can see youth getting involved with events, community services. So just make those connections, networking. You never know in the future where you're gonna land. So follow your dreams. Just don't be afraid. Speak up. Trust yourself, and just jump into a world. Feel free
Yeah.
to express yourself. That's another
Exactly.
thing.
Yeah, that's very common. I've heard a
Yeah.
lot of people say that. And I think as teenagers, we need to be told that, hey, it's okay. Just trust yourself and just jump into things.
Yes, I
And-
was very,
yeah.
very shy when I was little.
Yeah.
Like very, very shy. Like if I were to be able to go back in time, I wouldn't see myself sitting here today because I used to be very, very shy. And that's my advice. See, things will get better. You will gain confidence. You will be successful. So don't be
Yeah.
scared. Just trust the process.
Yeah, I think that is so true.
Yes.
Well, Giselle, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much. I just want to say one more thing.
Yeah.
Please follow us on social media. We have different. We have Instagram, we have Facebook, we have X, on YouTube. So you can search DBNC EarlyON. You can see what's going on, what programs we're having, what programs we're offering, and if there's any events that we're offering. Soon we're gonna have Summerfest at the Burhanter Community Center. We have the Garden with Ecosaurs. We always have things going on. So make sure to follow us, to stay tuned, and don't miss those big opportunities to,
for sure.
to participate.
Yes, and we will put everything in the description so
Yes.
you can click on the links and then stay connected with us.
Yes, please. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no, thank you for coming on.
Okay, thank you.